video. It's been a long time, over a year at this point. I've got a lot, obviously things that have happened in the last year, and I just felt like I needed to come back. I wanted to come back. I think the last video I uploaded was June 13th of 2025, and I think it was an NBA video. It was the video where I kind of touched on the season of the 2024 NBA season, of who won the championship, who won awards, MVPs, defensive players, coach of the year. I think I kind of touched on the Lakers a little bit. I remember mentioning Devin Booker and Jason Tatum, and I remember that somebody commented, which, let me give you a shout out if you're still around. Give me 1 second. Axel Ron and Castro 4745 commented fire emojis, and then he said next season would be cool, which was the 2025 season. And I said, I'm just waiting on the finals to wrap up, and I'll get right on it. And he responded probably about a month later, saying, been waiting, I'm hyped for it, take your time. And then I kind of ghosted, and then another 2 months later, he commented again, saying, waiting, LOL. So, shout out to you, Axel, Ron, and Castro 4745. I'm back. I don't have that video ready yet. I just wanted to get in front of the camera again, get something out, and just kind of brush off the old ASMR voice. But it's gonna come. I really want to commit to it this time. This last year break was, I don't want to say I have a good excuse, but I think I have an excuse. I didn't just ghost. I didn't just decide I didn't want to do this anymore. So I don't know how much I'll touch on with this video, but I definitely did want to give a shout out to you. I also want to give some shout outs to other people who commented on my video over the course of the last year, my videos over the course of the last year, because I don't check my YouTube studio often. The last video I recorded, obviously, like I said, was June of last year, and that was my old phone. I got a new phone earlier this year in like January, and I was kind of disappointed in myself, so I didn't even transfer over my apps. I didn't take YouTube Studio or any of the things that I use to record. I didn't transfer them over to my new phone. But recently I had to go get something from my old phone, so I'm recording with my new phone, and this is my old phone that I used to record with. I had to get something from here, and I was like, you know what, let me look at my YouTube studio just to, for shits and giggles, and see where things are. And I saw that I have 6 more subscribers than I did when I left. I think, if I remember correctly, I had 33 subscribers when I left, and then I think I lost one, and it dropped to 32, and then I somehow gained a couple more. Let me pull that up and verify. If we go the last year, so in 2025, it looks like I ended 2025 with maybe 32 subscribers, maybe. I'm not really sure how to read the charts. It's been a long time. But all I remember, point being, I remember that I had less than, let's call it 30 months ago, which means that my channel has kind of been surviving on its own, and that makes me happy but sad at the same time. Happy that my content is kind of still floating around on your guys' algorithms. I really thought that my content would just kind of fall into the ether and never be heard of again until I came back. But sad because I haven't done anything in over a year. So it's a bittersweet feeling, and I've had a lot of guilt over the last year. Anyway, I opened up YouTube Studio. I saw that I had more subscribers and more comments, and I was just too guilty to respond if I knew that I had no intention of putting a video out. I guess I'll just touch on that now. So I wasn't sure how much I wanted to talk about, but after I uploaded my last video, I recorded another one. I see it on my desktop right now, and I recorded the whole thing, and I was getting to editing it, and I just kind of didn't like what I saw in myself. Around the halfway point of last year, I got like the biggest, the heaviest I've ever been. I got up to almost 270 pounds, and getting up to the 270 pounds was fun and easy. But once I reached the 270 pounds, it was kind of depressing, and I couldn't edit that video and just see like how round my face looked, and finish that video. It was like I just couldn't do it. And I told myself that I was gonna log in, and I was like, I'm not recording another video until I log in, and I thought that would be motivating enough, and it wasn't. And I went the rest of last year just not happy with what I saw or who I saw in my video, and I felt like every video I was putting out, I was just rounder and cheekier and more swollen and more bloated, and like I said, the process of getting there was fun. My wife and I, for those of you who don't know, we got married early last year in February, and so the whole honeymoon phase, we have our apartment, and I think I touched on it in my last video, or in one of those videos, that I got a new job, and it's a really good job. I'm still there, but I guess just that was our first half year living together on our own, being married, being independent, and we realized how much free will we actually had. So my wife was cooking up dinners, we were eating out. It was too easy to come home and crack open a beer or a bottle of wine, because before we got married, before we lived together, before we had our own thing going, we used to have to drive to and from each other's houses. So we couldn't just relax and unwind on a Wednesday if I went to her house or she came to mine. You have a couple of hours, but then you have to go home, and so it's not, you can't get too comfortable. You eat, you watch some TV, but you don't really drink or really unwind, because you have to get up. So the first half year to year that we lived together, which was all of 2025, we might have gotten a little carried away, and it all just kind of came to a like a crescendo, where I looked at myself, and when you're editing these videos, you're watching yourself for hours, and I couldn't. I kept convincing myself that if I turned my face a certain way, or if I did my chin a little bit, that my face would look skinnier, and I did do that for videos prior, but that one was where I was just like, I can't finish this video, I can't finish editing it, I can't look at myself like this. And like I said, I told myself that it would be motivation to lock in and get back in front of the camera, and it didn't happen. So the rest of 2025 happened, and I this year, I'd say maybe like January, the second week of January, I did kind of lock in. I peaked at 267 on like January 4th, and I told myself the new year just started. You have to get back on track, because for those of you who don't know, I don't know if I've said it in any other videos, I used to be a personal trainer. I have my degree in kinesiology. Where's my graduation cap? I went to Cal State Fullerton. So sports and movement and physical activity and just health were like my thing. And when I got this new job, it's an office job, it's a desk job. So my physical activity just dipped. Anyway, coming back to earlier this year, I realized like I just wasn't happy with myself, how I looked, and what I was doing. Because even as I would eat and then instantly regret it. Anyway, that was the most I've ever struggled with, being active. I was always an athlete. I was always playing sports. I was always in the gym. I was always, on top of these things. And last year, I basically just took a year off. And so earlier this year, like I said, in January, I was like, I gotta log in, and I started slow. I would go to the gym here in our apartments, and I would do cardio, but I would walk for 30 minutes at a time. I still didn't really clean up the diet, and I wasn't really lifting weights. I couldn't bring myself to do it, but I actually did lose some weight, and it was probably mostly water retention and bloating and sodium, because I dropped from 267 down to about 250, maybe like 252, and I was like, okay, I'm good, but 252 was also still like the heaviest relative to before I peaked at that 267, and so I told myself, we gotta keep going, but again, I still wasn't lifting, I still wasn't eating right. It was just, I drank a little bit more water, and I started walking here, and I started walking on my lunges at work. And I was kind of in limbo for a little bit during that time, so that took me all of January to do. In February, that's my anniversary and Valentine's Day, obviously, so I eased up a little bit, but I was still doing okay. Then I kind of fell off in March and April and the beginning of May. I don't remember what happened, but there was like a succession of things that kind of led me to loosen up too much. I stopped walking at work. I stopped going to the gym at night, and then I kind of started the drinks again. I know what it was. My mom's birthday, and then there was WrestleMania. I went to one of my buddy's houses for WrestleMania, and I was drinking and eating a lot there. And then there were a couple of other things I don't remember, but I relaxed too much, and then I didn't weigh myself that whole time until finally my wife and I both said, all right, it's time we gotta stop, we gotta chill. So I got back on my stuff for real this time, and I have to thank my wife for this, because she makes us wake up at 4 in the morning every day, and we go to the gym, we get our cardio in, we lift our weights, we cook our breakfast, and we pre-make everything. This is the most dialed we've been in probably the last 3 to 5 years. And the first time I weighed myself, this last time that I started again, which was actually June 1st. I think June 1st was a Monday. That was the day my wife said, okay, we're locking back in. I didn't weigh myself until like June, maybe like the second or third week of June, and I was at 249.8. So I was about 3 pounds lower than where I was the last time where I left off. So I took it as a moral victory. I didn't really lock in from the end of or mid-February up until when I weighed myself mid-June. So about 4 months, and I've still managed to lose, a couple of pounds. But then I weighed myself again, and I was down to 246 towards like the end of June. I mean, today's only the 3rd, so that was like last week that I weighed myself, and today I weighed in at like 243. So I'm back down to the weight that I was in maybe mid-2024. This still isn't my lightest, and I'm still not as strong or as I'm active. I'm not. My conditioning and stuff isn't where I was when I was a trainer, because when I was a trainer, I was on my stuff. You know, I spent so much time at the gym. I did everything I needed to do. So I'm back down to, this is 10 pounds lighter than the lightest I've been since my wife and I got married, moved in together, and started doing our own thing, if that makes sense. So the lightest I was from the time that my wife and I moved in together until now was 252. So now I'm 243, so almost 10 pounds lighter now than I have been since maybe fall of 2024. So needless to say, this is the best I've felt in 2 years. And that, coupled with the comments, seeing my subscribers grow, like, it's time for me to come back, and I'm really gonna try to stick to it this time. I missed this. I missed feeling good and feeling able to do things that I like to do. I don't want to turn this into like some mental, like, I'm not gonna Joe Rogan you and be like, you need to exercise, but just for me personally, the weight that I was, it led me to not be able to enjoy things the way that I like to. And now I'm feeling a lot better, and I may not be where I want to be, but I'm not where I was this last time. And even as I look on my desktop and I'm looking at those videos of, the last time I tried to record, I feel like a completely different person. And so I just want to say thank you to you guys. So to make a short story long, I'm back, and I want to give a shout out to those who were here when I wasn't. So I have a comment 3 months ago, which means this was already 2026. It's from Aizen Sasuke. I believe that's how you say it. They commented on my weekend video, and they said, timestamp 7:23, all that money, the money she be folding, with emojis. So I haven't watched that video of myself in a long time, so I'm guessing it's where I talk about how much I love the song The Morning. So shout out to you. On my Dodgers bobblehead and giveaway collection video, I have a comment from Bobblehead Mania, clapping emojis. So shout out to you, Bobblehead Mania, for commenting and being here when I wasn't. I have on that same video a comment from Jonas Varela, G8J, saying love this vid. And thank you to you, Jonas. Again, thank you for being here when I wasn't. 11 months ago, I have an MLB 2024 MLB season review, and I have a comment from Dara MGG, or Daram GG. Shout out to you. The comment says ASMR sounds good. Thank you. And I want to give a shout out to Hush Hoops ASMR. He commented nice vid on my NBA season review video. I did respond to him at the time. I said, thanks man, your channel is great too. And he said, thanks, you too found your channel last night and I dig it. Keep it up, just subbed. So I believe I already subscribed to you. Oh, I don't. So I just subscribed to you. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for being here again when I wasn't. I have a video on, this video is the glove trigger sounds, and this is one that I also did respond to, but it's from Gabby Baby, and she said your voice is perfect for ASMR. Thank you for being here when I was here. aside from those handful, Asen Suzuki, Bobblehead Mania, Jonas Varela, Dara MGG or Darum GG, and I got one comment. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's from JDoGF50C that says, "What in the world?" In response to my NBA season review video. Don't know if that was a good or a bad what in the world, but thank you for the comment. So to address some of those things, specifically to Axel, Ron, and Castro, you're waiting. You commented twice. I'm gonna get that video out. I may have to skip 2025, but I'm gonna try to get one out for 2026. I don't know if you're still watching. I hope you are. I hope this video reaches you somehow and that you come back, but in any case, that's my segue to say that I'm gonna really try to get the videos out again. I have a couple of ideas. I think I want to do another kind of like the weekend video I did, except with some of my other favorite artists. I do have some more things that I want to show you. I actually want to re-record the video that I was working on the last time, which was a video kind of going through when I moved. I had a box where I kept all of my physical tickets to games and shows and concerts that I had been to. So that video was me kind of going through that box and just detailing what I remember from that game. So I do want to redo that video because that video, it had some good stuff on it. All the Laker games I've been to, Dodger game, most of them, it got really hard to track those after everything went online and digital wallet and stuff. So a lot of that stuff is 10 plus years old, which I thought was kind of cool because some of the stuff I didn't even remember. But I do want to redo that video. And when I was looking at my own channel, I saw that I said in my description, my biography, whatever you want to call it, that I talk about food and life. But so far I've really only talked about sports. So I do want to get some stuff out. I don't know if maybe I'll do like my own tier list of my favorite foods. Maybe I'll do like a tier list of my favorite restaurants, or we can break it up, or just some food specifically, my favorite burgers, or I don't know, just spitballing here, but I do have a lot of ideas, and I do want to get to those. This video is kind of going to be like I guess this would be part of the life portion, kind of talking about this last year and why I've been ghosted. Many of you probably don't even care, but if there's any of you guys that do, that's kind of why I touched on that. But I'm back. I feel better. I'm in a better place mentally, physically, emotionally than I was this last time, or the last time I made a video. So I hope that you guys will join me again. If any of you guys are still subscribed and get this notification, or it pops up on your algorithm, I'm glad that you're back. And overall, I look forward to continuing to grow the channel that I had kind of growing. I can't thank you guys enough. Those of you who were here when I was active, those of you who stayed here when I wasn't, and those of you who were here when I wasn't, like after I left. I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope that this channel continues to grow and reach like-minded people who have the same interests, or just people who like ASMR. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.